Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? What's going on? Welcome to Al Stock Trades. All right. So, my apologies again for the microphone here. If you're just tuning in, I'm using my Mac microphone, but this is important information that no one's really talking about that I want you to hear about. Unfortunately, stock market due diligence and research is very sparse. And in this video, we're going to teach you and show you some things that Wall Street and hedge funds are looking at right now. This is directly related to all your positions, regardless if it's, regardless, this is really good and there's going to be some use out of it. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? All right, so let's make that money. All right, so first things first. Well, first off, let's make money, right? So overall, we can see quite the divergence in terms of the fortunes after the October 2022 low. We see that technology and community and growth stocks that obviously are free cash flow positive have done really well, right? But then you're like, Al, hello, I have a growth stock, right? I have a stonk. Mine's not doing well. What's going on? Well, that's because small caps, which Clover is in, is actually historically, small caps have done terrible right now. This analyzes all the sectors, and we've analyzed them, and we've looked at them, and we've basically parcellated them, and we've seen that utilities have taken a hit and stables have taken a hit. Good morning, fam, and good morning to all of you. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. My apologies for yesterday's video. It was just a little clickbaity. Just wanted to have some fun. I'm getting a lot of comments. Somebody was like, I'm waiting for Clover to be delisted. So I commented back. I said, do you want to throw a delisting party at Applebee's? Because that's unfortunately what you're going to be able to afford with that type of mentality. Okay, just kidding. Enough with the mean jokes. Enough with the mean jokes. Okay, so as you can see, your small caps have been faring well. Faring not well. So what do we do? Well, what we did is we took essentially all of the times where the small caps have been in this level and looked at over 100 years of history and said, okay, every time small caps have fared very crappy, we're going to analyze them and we're going to go back until 1928. Yes, you heard me correctly. 1928. And we're going to look at the position we're in right now to see where we're at. Now, let me just very quickly give you a preface, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you a preface. If you look at Ray Dalio, one of the greatest investors of our time, he created a book and also a video called The New World Order. And what differentiates a smart investor versus a speculator is that a smart investor understands that he does not know the answers if he's living in contemporary news times. So he has to understand that he needs to go and look at and study history. Well, Ray Dalio took it to a different perspective. Not only did he study histories, he studied histories of the fallen past empires to basically find patterns. And that's what we're doing right now. So if we were to take all the small caps right now and take a look at them historically, you would get a graph like this. So the S&P 500 after first year from low with the worst small cap relative return. Again, I'm trying to target Clover Health without targeting Clover Health because I'm trying to see what we can, expect. So if we were to analyze from 1928 and all of the red dots here, these are all the times where small caps did terrible. And overall, what we can see here is that over time, in the short term, we are going to expect shit returns. But over the next 6 months to 12 months, I'm expecting to see small caps return some quite hefty percentage returns. Okay. Now, more and more stocks are returning to the bear market level. So the number of sectors with greater than 50% of stocks are in a bear market territory. So what you see here is a box analysis plot where every time we get above the red line, it shows that it is near a bear market. And if we were to extend the concept of when dumbasses sell, smart asses buy, or Warren Buffett said it more professionally and more elegantly. When there is fear on the streets, you become greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. The most famous quote that many people say but don't actually do. So as you can basically see here now, we won't go in depth here because a lot of us were young and never born here. So we'll go to the ones that we know. So the dot-com bubble bust was a signal which showed that there were some really bad returns. 2008 great financial crisis was a great signal. The 2020 pandemic, that sure enough was a signal, and the stocks dropped. But overall, people were so emotional in this drop. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's a small little dip. And guess what? We're also headed now into another signal, potentially, could be a bear market. Now, I'll give you my interpretation of this data at the end of this video, so definitely stick around. And I'm going to do what YouTubers do. If you like this content, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And wait, please turn on the notification bell. See, I'm getting better at this YouTube garbage. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at this basically beautiful graph here, okay? So the most important index is stuck in limbo, and now it just broke. So what are we looking here? Well, the green is the 200-day moving average, and the red is the 50-day moving average. And the black line here is the S&P 500 prices. And as what you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, we just crossed the 200-day moving average to the downside. Yes. This is very ugly. So the question is now, from the institutional investors' perspective, we are starting to see some sellings on the institutional level for some stocks. Could Bank of America, Chase, especially Bank of America, that have billions of dollars in assets that are in the loss right now regarding their the whole Silicon Valley Bank and all those issues regarding the treasuries and whatnot. So that's an issue there. But overall, are banks is Wall Street prepping for a recession? Is there going to be a soft landing? And I think the Federal Reserve, just a little bit of my interpretation here, I think the Federal Reserve is pretty much going to say, we're going to raise rates until something breaks, because we can afford for something to break. We can cut, right? Which is good. We want something to break. It's okay. Because then guess what? Once they cut, you already know the story. And if you don't know the story, well, you should definitely subscribe to our Mastering Stock Market course. You see that nice plug-in? Very smooth. Okay, so now if you look at the majority of New York stocks, in terms they're no longer in a long-term uptrend. They've actually faltered down. They broke down their 200-day simple moving average. Now, what does this all mean? Well, guess what? It's a signal. I love it when stocks do this, because guess what? Because that's when I can get a good deal. Okay? You don't want to buy down here. You buy down here, you're buying at an overvaluation price. Again, imagine, speak to your Joe Schmo. Think of your neighbor, John. John lives next to you. He's your neighbor in the house. Poor John works a 9 to 5. John, he's been saving in the bank all this time. He's trying to get into the stock market, but John always basically stresses whenever you go to your little picnic events in your neighborhoods and says, man, I'm trying to go into stocks, but I don't know what stock to buy. I don't know what time to get into stocks. All I see in Robinhood are a bunch of stocks with their prices. You think John has access to this data? You think John understands this data, how beautifully elegant it's basically laid out here for him? No, of course not. This is privileged data. This data aggregates the 200-day moving average all the way from 1928 to 2023. Look how beautiful this is, okay? And I'm giving it and sharing it with you. So guess what? What is XLK? I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about it for a sec. What is XLK? What does XLK stand for? XLK is a technology sector ETF. It's something that I like to track, okay? And the reason being is every time there's a little signal here, it shows me that we are about to explode or near explosion, okay? I don't exactly, thank you. It is tech. It is a tech. And, we're obviously interested in technology. I love tech stocks because guess what? It's the future. It's deflationary. It's the fourth industrial revolution. Well, look at who runs the Wall Street. It's tech companies. Okay. So, anywho, as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we get these beautiful signals here, we definitely get a strong bounce, right? And sometimes it precedes a drop, and sometimes it's after a drop. So we may be entering a drop right now, right? I'm just giving you guys this data, okay? Now, this is called the NASDAQ HighLow Logic Index. It was created, I think, back in the 70s, and it basically parcellates when the market is split. Long story short, what you need to know is you want to essentially look at these signals when they're at it kind of basically shows you a good potential bottoming out process for a great reversal. Majority of the times it works. Again, you can't just use a signal on its own. You can't basically use a hammer on everything because not everything is a nail. I think that's a great quote for wise people that have already heard it, right? When you use a hammer as your tool, you think everything is a nail, and that's not true for most things. But this is good in your toolbox to look at, and it's something that I'm certainly looking at. So this is basically letting me know, just very quickly here, to tell me that potentially we may be entering a bottoming out process. So what is my kind of internalizing this data? What are my thoughts? Well, my thoughts are expansive. They're huge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this and I'm going to type in world, okay? Not world neurosurgery. That's a journal I'm publishing in. I want to look at Earth, okay? So what is my view right now, okay? What is my view? Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to be more specific. Let me look at Iran map. Let's look at the map of Iran. I want to do a map where I can move around. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay. All right, so let's look at layers. Okay. And maybe we'll just do this simple map. Okay, so why am I looking at this map? Well, because there's a lot of geopolitical conflict right now. Okay. All right, we have a lot going on right now. We have essentially Russia trying to get into and attack Ukraine. We have all these countries supporting a Ukraine front and obviously an Israeli front. We have a war happening right now in Gaza and Israel after the attacks. And we have a potential uprising in Hezbollah up north, and a potential support from Syria with Hezbollah to come in with the northern front of Israel, with a potential direct attack coming from Iran. We have United States ships organized in this region of the sea, Mediterranean Sea here. And we have increasing tensions that are happening all around the area of the Middle East. And domestically, we have a proxy war that's not new, a proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia, where Saudi Arabia is backing Sunni type militants and Iran is backing Shia type militants, like, for example, Yemen attacking Saudi Arabia from this angle. So as you can see, we have war and instability around the area, which is why Bill Ackman essentially took his bets off in shorting the Treasury yield, essentially shorting bonds, indicating that when, excuse my language, shit hits the fan, then potentially people are going to go to flights of safety back to bonds. Bond prices goes up, which then destroys his short position, and yields go down. If yields go down, it indicates to you the federal funds rate will go down as well. What is the federal funds rate? It is the interest rate set by the Federal Reserve. Potentially, that they might start cutting rates, meaning that something is going to break. Extrapolating this data, Bill Ackman believes that in the next 2 years, 3 years, the rates might come down. If this concept that I just discussed to you does not make sense, I recommend you rewatch the video, open up ChatGPT and enter what I said so you can understand what I'm saying, because it's very crucial, okay? It basically means that we may potentially enter a recession that may make something break, okay? Now, why am I into this location? Well, this is a big issue. We have a lot going on here. And for folks that don't understand, there are conflicts between Turkey, that is NATO, and Greece. There are conflicts. There's a war that some proxy wars happening right now in Turkey and Greece. There's a lot of wars around the world right now that are happening here. Okay, there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of issues. Now, again, the reason being that this, if I have if I was in your audience's position, I would say, Al, why the hell are we talking about this right now? Okay, I understand it's going to affect rates, but how? How? Okay, well, there's something called OPEC and OPEC plus. Iran distributes oil. Iraq has oil. Saudi Arabia has oil. And also, Russia also has oil too. There could be a threat to demand by decreasing the supply, which will increase the demand, which will cause oil prices to go up, which is why from a just from a business standpoint, it's important for the United States to be oil independent, which again has become very political. The reason being we want it to be independent is so just in case if these folks down here increase the prices of oil, we won't be affected by a recession. We can become energy independent and then spend our time learning how to crawl, then learning how to walk and build our green energy initiative rather than jumping into the pool in the ocean without a lifeguard vest because we're going to drown, especially as a 2-year-old, right? Given the years of the technology of energy independence regarding just green energy, okay? Again, I know this was a lot to take in. There was a lot of history involved here. There was a lot of there's a lot going on here. Again, these countries are relatively new. They used to be the Ottoman Empire. Baghdad was founded in, I believe, 40s or 50s. Russia, the new Russia is 1991. Mao Zedong, I believe, was in the 50s. Let me correct that. When did China become communist? Was it in the 1949? When did Israel happen? 1948. A lot that's happening right now. It's a lot of these countries have been founded in the 40s and 50s. And if you look at Ray Dalio, every 75 to 100 years, there is a somebody wants to conquer, somebody wants to rule, and someone wants to invade. Okay. And that's just what happens. Unfortunately, like Ronald Reagan said, freedom is not in the DNA. Humans are made to be conquered and to be ruled. That's the unfortunate part of our reality. War is around us. War will always be here, sadly. It's a very cynical view of me, but just look at history. And this is what Wall Street is looking at right now, this instability because of oil, okay? So this could potentially cause something to break, which is why a lot of stocks now are going below their 200-day moving average. This is why we're breaking right now, okay? But again, like I said, if you look at small caps right now, small caps have been hurting. And again, what do you want to buy? Companies and technology stocks that have been doing really, really well, or stocks that have great improving fundamentals that are going to become free cash flow positive, that are independent regardless of Republicans or Democrats? Healthcare is healthcare. People get sick. You can't stop that. I think the answer is very clear, ladies and gentlemen. So overall, my apologies. I stand with all human life. I stand with, I have a lot of friends from Israel, and I have definitely I have some colleagues as well, scientists that are in Gaza as well. Me being a global platform from a scientist perspective, I want this to end, and I want Hamas to be essentially, that's again going back here. Hamas is Iranian backed, right? They're a proxy for Iran. This is kind of the Cold War of the Middle East. And so this is kind of the issue that we have right now. Again, a lot of geopolitical stuff. I usually don't talk about this because, everyone has an opinion about this. But when it comes to stocks, I hope this video was educational for you. And if it incited you to Google more about the conflicts and the history of each country, then I think I've done my job, right? I think I did a good job. All right, this was 20-minute video. Very complicated stuff here, okay? If you want to support our nonprofits, we have nonprofits that help with neurosurgery research. You can go down to the link below, look at our top-selling book, The Intelligent Investor for the Modern Reader. We also have our stock terminal and also mastering stock market course with a coupon code that is expiring. Please definitely take a look if you're interested in a fully rounded research that is independently done and not paid for by either Republicans or Democrats or any type of agenda. The only agenda here is a human trying to inform other humans on how to break the gaps in financial literacy and improve the quality of one's life. God bless each and every one of you. And let me just go ahead and read this here. Hi, Al, anything can happen like a global war. Absolutely, which is why I'm focusing on this, because the reason why we brought in one of the biggest ships in the U.S. here is because we're trying to deter Iran from getting in here, because a lot of lookers here are looking at this as an opportunity. And the Hezbollah that we knew back in the beginning parts of the 2005s and 2006, they're a lot stronger now, and they have over 100,000 missiles, and some of them are precision guided that are approximately can explode from 10 kilometers from a precise location. Given this could be a problem. And then given Iran's incentive to build nuclear weapons and their goal to eliminate Israel off of the map, meaning civilians die, this is an issue that is being priced in right now. And if we were to go down here in China and were to look at this conflict between China and Taiwan regarding Taiwan semiconductors, we have an issue, which is why we've surrounded China's ability. And if they were to invade, probability-wise, they would suffer a lot, which is why we moved a lot of our Apple and a majority of our businesses. We're starting to put them in India, as India basically just became the country that has the most population, and China's faltering given their heavy, strict rules of creating children in the past 20 years. But overall, lots is going on. You may be surprised that I know quite much about geopolitics, but again, I used to be a big investor in oil, as you know from my Exxon Mobil call out. So hence why I have to learn this. And you being in Wall Street, I feel like it is a deterrent for dementia, meaning that you're always learning. So I hope that this was very helpful. See here, do you think it will help if all this country gathered together against the U.S.? I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have data. Definitely, I have an incentive for the USA. Not only am I a citizen here, I'm also going to be a physician here, and I'm also a stock market investor here. And these are, this is my beautiful neighbors. So obviously, all right, ladies and gentlemen, USA has dropped freedom bombs for the past 50 years in the Middle East. The world is changing in the US. Yeah, the world is changing. And if you guys are interested, comment down below if you would like my perspective on the United States, Iraq war, conflict, all this stuff. If you guys want my perspective on this, It definitely deters away from stock market investing. But if you guys want that, we'll definitely have a section of that because I do believe it's important. All right, guys. I hope this video was good. I want to keep it a little shorter, not like 30 minutes long. It's 25 minutes now on the clock, so other people can watch it because I do believe there's a lot of information here. And if you just basically started joining us, watch from the beginning. There's a lot of good data here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on the next one.